I know your first question is what inspires you. It isn't branding. I could care less. You know what I like about graphic design? Big, stiff paychecks. Big ones. You know, you get them, and you look at them, you smell them, you taste them, and then you go cash them, and you pay taxes.
They know that normally I'm a bright-coloured person, but then I was like, I didn't know what to wear today.
Somewhere in between is the magic sauce.
I guess people are, part of the journey.
I think being really consistent in every application of your brand. Our audience, I guess they're bombarded with a lot of different pieces of advertising, of communication in their day every day. You're only one sliver in their day, and you just need to keep doing it so that you're building that equity in their mind.
I handed off a logo yesterday to a group of guys, smart group of guys, advertising guys, and they came to me because of exactly what we're talking about. I can't solve this for them. I can't make them an awesome Nike swoosh and then that's going to pay their rent. They have to have good ideas. They have to have good emails. They have to have good follow through. They have to be good citizens. They have to go hustle.
So you need to be really aware of what your competitors are doing and find your unique space. So if you know what everyone's doing, you've got to try and do things a little bit differently.
You know, the way brands are trying to communicate to people is, on a very human level. When you're presented with a brand, how does it make you feel? Does it represent who I am? Does it represent my values or, things like that get you engaged? So it's far beyond a logo.
I really like the work that Liquid Death do. Their marketing and their communications really stand out in a really saturated category for them. So I think they've been really successful in carving out their space with a really edgy personality, really memorable campaigns that have generated talkability with their target market. And I think that's the aim for brands today, is really how do you get your audience to talk about you in an authentic way? And when you're authentic, it makes that emotional connection with your audience, which is what you want. To build that loyalty with them, it makes it easier to achieve if you're just being real.
Personal influences or personal preferences should not inform how you design for clients.
Because you got to keep your perspective on if someone's looking at us or, the brand, how are they engaging? So you've got to split that away.
One does have an aesthetic of their own. One has preferences of where one color over another, but in the end, you're doing this in service of the client, not so much yourself.
It's like, fellas, it's a funnel. I'm going to drop a lot of stuff in the funnel. Don't be overwhelmed. 16, 14, 17, and 46. Let's Frankenstein them together. It's not mine in the end, it's theirs. So, you watch these guys, we're on a Zoom call, and they're like, you mean we're going to have instant ownership? Yes. I'm just a large hirsute, instrument. They strap around their extremities and stuff, and a divining rod. That's it. I'll get them to the water. But along the way, they're going to guide me. And in the end, when it gets out and we're done, it's theirs because they help me.
It's hard to not let what you think is right or wrong or good or bad sort of inform how I view projects. So, there are things that I like, there are things that I hate, but I try to put that aside and see, is this right for the client? Is this right for whatever they're trying to say? I like to think that it's subjective objectivity or objective subjectivity that I try to do in my review. Somewhere in between is the kind of like the magic sauce.
There's a couple things out there that are on the tip of my tongue. The filigree and jokey quality of the Young Jerks is really exciting to me. I know those turkeys. I think there was a sale on hipster glasses. If you actually look at the two of them, there might have been a sale. No one told me about it, but they got them. Maybe they bulked up on them. I don't know, but it's clever. And then you'll see these guys on them. Another beer brand. But the meaner the comment, it's like you go back and you look. That guy doesn't get to do beer brands. So they bring a certain levity to things.
This video is brought to you by Envato. Unlimited creative assets and the broadest range of categories all in one place. Follow the link in the description and start creating now.
I think that just like struck a nerve on such a deep level for so many people.
Everyone's seen Jaguar, well-established company, lots of heritage, exceptional reputation, going, making a pivot to, typographical word mark, basically.
It represents that thing that we're always clamoring that we want clients to do something bold and different, whether we like it or not. Like, that's what we're championing, that just like change and be bold and be a hero for your industry, whatever it is. And Jaguar did that, and people were like, no, it's too much bravery, too much boldness, too different.
There's been a few car companies now that are moving to a word, but it's not just that, it's the whole new world that they're creating around that.
It was just a stark change from who they seemed to be talking to who it seemed like they wanted to start talking to. Personally, I'm not a fan. I don't really want to say that on record, though. Not really a fan. I think they play to trends too hard, to be honest. You look at it and you go, was that a clever marketing tactic? They generated a lot of talkability ahead of their car unveiling. Was that a marketing ploy?
For me, it's 100% everything revolves around typography.
A lot of the times typography can actually play a role in, conveying a brand's identity. There's a trick in there or an addition or a tweak. McDonald's M, like all these things, that's supreme branding.
All of the work that I do revolves around typography. Like, it's something that it when you see it. Like, all of a sudden, whether it's the weight, whether it's the shapes, whether it's something that is, quirky enough or serious enough, that it's just like, it feels right for the project.
When I told him that, I said, so what I'm going to make you is I'm just going to make you a cool exclamation point. It is as arbitrary as some typeface. Some have points, some have slabs, some are round. You know what I mean? Who gives a shit? Sometimes, whatever the personality is, this mark, as long as you guys are confident, as long as you guys can back it up with good business acumen and good citizenry, it doesn't matter if you have a dot or nothing. And that's kind of branding sometimes, So it's like, I'll make sure it's a confident little zim-zam and arm them with that. But that it doesn't, there's no brand speak beyond that.
Sometimes there is a specific reason why you choose something, whether it's because, the typeface was done at the same time, in the same decade as the company that was founded, or sometimes it's something as dumb as the name somehow matches the project. One year for a brand new conference, when it was in Chicago, we used the font Chicago. It's dumb, but at the same time, what made it interesting was that it's one of the original Mac OS fonts, but it's just one of those things. It's like, it's a dumb idea, but it makes perfect sense. It's a conference for designers, they'll get it. And sometimes I'll admit that I see a typeface that I like, and I'll find a way to make it work on a project, just to make sure, because I want to use it. So how can I justify using it in this project?
How do you think about color in your work? Right. Distance, doability, and not becoming a nuisance. Let's make sure that colors we pick have visual distance. What I mean by that is, there's enough distance between this yellow and this orange, but in certain light, see, they kind of start to get together. But you do this, then you can kind of see it. It's like, that's a little too yellowy or too orangey. So it's these really simple things, but I think even simpler than that, it's really like, wait a second, where are you guys operating?
Does it exude confidence? Is the color trustworthy? Like, there are so many factors that play with color. But then how do I use color to be hyper consistent? So every time I see that color, I know I'm talking about, a particular product.
This is how you build association with your brand really quickly. The color that you choose evokes emotions. Usually colors have an association with mood. Yeah, and it's just building that brand thread and memorability. Is that a word? Memorability?
Go to the Apple App Store. You're going to see limited moves inside that little app side. It's very competitive. The attention span is tiny, and there's a lot of primary colors because the distance is what you pick up, the distance. They're not, you know what I mean? It's like the Figma logo. Looks good at the size of a pea, and you put on a Learjet, it'd be fine. Show it working. Everyone wants to make the water bottle. Everyone wants to make the sweatshirt and all the neat things. But really, it better look good in the little corner of your Instagram. That's where people are like doing biz.
It can be a very distracting thing for clients. And this is not to say that clients don't get it. It's just like for some personal reason, a client has an aversion to a color. It can derail anything else that you show around it just because they don't like that color. So yeah, I think just showing, and maybe that's why I gravitate towards black so much, because it's a neutral color. It's a safe choice that is hard to like see any drastic negative connotations in when it comes to judging design work.
I do love bright colors, so I think the green color tone that we've just dialed up in what we had before. Look, I tried to remove my personal self from the brand because I think it needs to stand by itself and also be informed by who your target audience is. But I think to cut through in market, having colors that are bold, impactful, they're essential. So I think that's really what drove the branding and the choice. Heavy-handed on trends is probably a bit risky because when you're building a new brand, you really want to make sure that it's got longevity.
I was a kid, I emulated, but I also had to take a look at everything and say, I love when I see these thick line logos and stuff. They worked in 1971. Why don't they still work in 2001? Well, they do. But in 2001, everything's got gradients and looks like you can pick it off the page, Web 2.0 kind of stuff. You got to look it up. It's like, no, that one color flat thing still was effective.
Being timeless in your design approach is really important. Then you're not having to reinvent it when maybe the font that you've chosen has become dated.
From a brand point of view, from my personal point of view, it's just transient branding or transient design or following a trend. We don't have to do that. We want to aim for timeless, innovative and forward-thinking work as branding professionals. But yeah.